Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love as We Know It. I'm Bay,
I'm L.
and we are just two women here to talk about life, love, and everything in between. You have anything to say?
I do. So for starters, I want us to take a moment of silence for Gilroy, California, El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. Take a moment of silence for the families who are going through these tough times. All right, so we are back at it again. And the topic of today is, why do men, I take that back, why do some men disrespect lesbian relationships? Let's talk about it. I've seen it a lot. I've experienced it a lot. I've experienced it recently, and we'll get into that shortly. But babe, why do you think men do that? Some men do that.
I don't know. I haven't actually been through it as much as Elle has. So we say lesbians on this podcast, but really I am not a lesbian. I actually don't identify as anything at all. But recently a friend of mine popped me in a category, and I was like, I guess that does describe me and who I am. But I'm actually not a lesbian. I am, I guess, what you would consider to be pansexual. So I've dated some of everyone. I don't claim anything, though. I just love people, and I love them for who they are. Now, when I've dated women, I actually haven't personally gone through anything with me, anyway, as far as I'm dating a woman and someone has disrespected me. It usually is I'm dating a woman and maybe the guy disrespects the girl I'm with by saying something to me. If that makes any sense. It hasn't been the other way around for me. So Elle would probably have to tell you more of her life stories.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure hers run deep, especially because my little baby is so superficial.
Oh my God.
And
listen.
She likes to date women that are very attractive to other people.
Like the one beside me right now.
And
She ain't complaining about that, though?
I am not. You already know how
okay.
I feel. Let's not even get into that.
Since I'm superficial.
She is superficial. But the thing is about Bay, or Elle too, is that she likes to date bisexual women. She doesn't date
Just put my business in the streets.
actual lesbians. And I don't know if that makes a difference.
Just telling y'all all my business.
But I think that men in general, they don't understand why two women would be together. I think for men, a lot of times,
understand. Mind your business. Live your life. It is not for them to understand. And yes, I did have like a little pack of majority of my life where I like to date bisexual women, right? But that does not define me. So
I know this is not the topic, but I do want to ask anyway. You have never dated a lesbian woman. We are, but this is interesting.
You trying to get off topic? This ain't even the topic of the show.
I just can't. Okay, just.
I'll tell you though.
Have you ever dated just a lesbian woman?
I've had sex with a couple lesbian women, but I hadn't dated too many lesbian women. Honestly, as of today, this time, I have not, but I'm not ashamed. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I like what I like. I enjoy what I like. I got the raft of what I liked, and there's consequences with coming with what you like. But I can honestly say by the grace, I ain't never get hooked up. So
she says consequences, and we are so off topic right now, but she says consequences of liking what she likes. But I will say this.
What she'll say?
We had a conversation before when we first met.
But you telling all my business again?
Well,
go ahead. Don't tell all my business.
And so, about cheaters. And I know a lot of times lesbian studs or AGs or whatever you want to call them, they tend to think that
was disrespectful.
Oh my gosh, how was it disrespectful?
Whatever they want to call it. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Well, I don't like titles. I just like to say lesbian women. Let's say lesbian women.
Lesbian
in general, I know a lot of them now have gone towards, I don't want to date bisexual women, or I don't want to date women who aren't lesbians. And one of the conversations we had very early on is that it's because of the mindset of thinking they're going to cheat, or they're going to cheat and cheat with a man, or whatever the case. But cheating is not based on sexuality, in the sense that if I'm a bisexual or I'm not all the way lesbian, I'm more prone to cheat. That's a character flaw within that individual. So I don't think it has anything to do...
Say it one more time. What is it?
It's a character flaw within the individual.
Character flaw.
It has nothing to do with whether you're gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. That is the individual's problem.
Individual! Facts. And I agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with character flaws. And I also definitely agree we are completely off topic. But we did want to talk about that with you all, because that is important to know. And it's important to understand that don't just go around thinking all bisexual women going to cheat. They may not.
They may not. If you find someone... And I think the problem is that lesbian women are dating bisexual women who like women for sex. Mm-hmm. They don't like women for relationships. So you get in a relationship with a woman who's bisexual and considers herself bisexual because I like to have sex with women, but I want relationships with men. And then they try to have a relationship with a woman when really that's not where it's at for them. Right. And they end up still being with men and cheating.
Double dipping.
And I think that's where the confusion comes in with dating someone who's bisexual.
Double dip.
Anyway, we're going to get back on topic here because
So
I am super off topic, but
it's all good, bro. We wanted to put that out there. It's our podcast. We do what we want.
Sure is.
I do what I want. So, a recent experience. So I took Babe to the hometown and went to a corner store. You know what that is. So I think y'all up north call them bodegas or something like that.
There's still corner stores too.
Okay, so boom.
Bodegas and corner stores.
Right. So we went to a corner store. And we in there. We done picked up the things we need. This dude walk in and say, I go hard in the paint. I go hard in the paint. So I already know. I already know what time it is. He looking at Babe booty and I go hard in the paint. I was like, I can't say what I want to say. We're going to keep this podcast clean. I'm thinking in my mind, like, are we really doing this? So I'm like, Babe, he's talking about you. I usually get pretty worked up about things like this, but as
she does.
With age, I think I'm getting a little better.
She is. I'm so proud of my baby.
He was mad ugly. His dreads were like in the middle of his head, and I didn't understand the purpose of it. Like, if you wanted to talk to her, you should have said something. But I just think that was mad disrespectful to talk about how hard you go in the paint, and you over 50. He was over 50 with locks, and his pants was sagging with a chain on.
It's pretty descriptive. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I don't remember anything other than him being dark-skinned. Like, I honestly can't remember much. But, that's when we knew it was disrespectful because he was already in the store when we walked in.
Right.
But so it wasn't like we walked in and he was just over there like, I go hard in the paint. Like he was rapping or something like that. No. It literally was, we walked in together.
Right.
You can clearly see that we're together. You can tell that we're together when you see us together, whether we're holding hands or not. Right. It's obvious. And when we went to the register and walked past him,
he was looking at Babe's
booty.
He
looked at my butt. And
trying to get to you and that booty. He was looking at her booty.
And so
everybody be looking at her booty. I be looking at her booty. I like her to walk in front of me for those purposes.
You know what's funny is when I catch Elle looking at my booty. Like yesterday, I had on some leggings because we had came back Anyway, we had a day out and I had on some ripped jeans, but I had leggings on underneath because the rips are kind of high. And anyway, I took the ripped jeans off and I'm getting up from the couch because I don't really feel well. My stomach's upset. I get up from the couch and she looking dead at my butt. And I'm like, in my head, I didn't say nothing, but in my head, I'm like, I don't feel well right now. Can you look at my eyes, please? What about my eyes?
In my
what
head,
about my eyes, Elle?
In my head, I was like, look at that butt.
Look at that butt.
Look at that butt. So we leave the gas station, and I think we come back later that day, and one of my classmates was in the gas station. And
that was the next day?
That was the next day, okay.
And he remembered?
Yeah, so he called me by my childhood nickname, not telling you, don't worry about it. So I looked, I was like, what's good, dude? He was like, man, dude was mad disrespectful yesterday, wasn't he? I was like, bro, he was mad disrespectful. Like, mad disrespectful. So that was the only incident I had with Bae. But what I will tell you, everywhere I go with this woman. So real quick, since we've been off topic all morning, she wear these dresses. Whew. She wear these dresses that I like to see her in, and her dresses are like super flowy, not like super tight, not like super provocative, but just like super sophisticated and flowy. We will walk in a building and I will tell you every man from every race stops what he's doing with the lady that he's with and looks at her. And I love it. I love it. We went out to eat to another place and we walked in for, I think it was like lunch. We walked in for lunch because we were meeting my brother. Yeah.
That was a brunch. It was a brunch. It was pretty early. I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. 2:30.
So we walked in there and she walked up in there looking like a Southern belle, and she not. But she commanded the room's attention, and that was very good. So I'm used to being in situations where men gravitate to her, which I'm completely fine with. I know who I'm with. I've had attractive women in my life for a reason. My wife is attractive for a reason. Am I shallow? Yes. I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, we have to grow old together, but black don't crack. That's big facts. Black does not crack. And I want to be able to roll over on her worst day and still find her beautiful, which I know I will.
There are sometimes I am like, Elle, where do you see it?
Everywhere.
Especially with like sometimes pictures. She will love a picture of me and it will be a horrible, horrible picture to me.
There's no horrible picture.
But she'll love it. And I'm like, I don't even understand. But it'll be like one part of the picture that she loves. Mm-hmm. And it just makes her love the entire picture. Right. And it'll usually be a feature of mine that she loves.
She got a lot of like them freckles. I bet you they be trying to figure out, I wonder where her freckles at. Because y'all ain't seen us yet. All right, so there have been a few other incidents throughout my life where dudes is just mad disrespectful. I can be out with somebody I'm with and they'll stare in her face the entire time. Or they might say, hey, what's up? You got a man? Or it's just crazy randomness. And I usually say something. And men are taken back with the fact that I say something. If you was with your wife and I grabbed her hand while her hand was in your hand, would you say something? That's disrespectful. I think you shouldn't disrespect anyone's relationship, regardless of whether or not you agree with it or not. It's not yours. You don't have to lay up with her. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything with us. It's not your relationship. So I just think that if people mind their manners and mind their business, then it wouldn't be an issue.
You know, I will say this, that I see the disrespect happen a lot with black men.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see it happen
with any other race.
With any other race, and I'm not really sure why. But I don't really see it happen with any other race. I'm not saying that it can't happen with any other race. I just have only had it happen with black men. But what I noticed is that it even goes further than just lesbians too. Like my last relationship, I was with a dude who was Mexican and white. And we would be places together and still same thing. Black men would see us together and still try to swoop in and take me up. And so it's just a lot of disrespect in general, that people don't respect people's relationships. And to try to figure out why this happens, it's almost as if we don't value relationships the way that we should. So therefore, maybe as a culture, we disrespect relationships because we don't value relationships. We don't value monogamy within our own relationships. So then when we see someone that is in one, we don't value theirs either because we don't even value our own.
Right.
And it's very disheartening to see that people think it's that easy or sex is that important,
right,
that I could take you away.
And they think most lesbian relationships is just centered around sex.
Right,
and
right.
That is very not true.
And when I chose to be with Elle, it didn't have anything to do with sex. Sex is just an extenuation of the feelings that we have for each other. It's another way for us to express how we feel towards each other. But I'm not with her because I love sex with women, so I'm going to go ahead and be with her. I'm with her because of who she is. And I think that that's where people who don't understand same-sex relationships, they think it has to be based in sex. They want to make it perverted and say, oh, she's just with this person because, you know, it's two women having sex and that's why I want to be with. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with my connection and what we have together that makes me want to be with Elle. It's what made me want to love and spend the rest of my life with Elle. It's nothing to do with sex. Now, granted, it's very good sex. It's very good sex, but it has nothing to do with that. And that's why coming into the relationship, the abstinence factor is there, along with the fact that it's what God would have me to do. But I don't believe finding a partner has to be based in sex. I think if you find someone who you know is willing and open to different things sexually, they're not selfish or like me driven in regards to sex, that you can wait until you're married to have sex. As long as you have someone who's willing to work and learn your body and learn you, you can mold and work with that. And so, but luckily I was getting a little taste of old Elle here. I won't get into it because we'll save it for another podcast.
Thank you, babe. You done told all my business already today. But anyway, the abstinent thing wasn't no joke. We'll get to that on another podcast. We've been off topic all day, but this should just be a scrambler because we don't know what's going on.
Some pillow talk, because really that's what's happening right now.
That's exactly what's happening.
We just let it flow.
But yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
It was hard.
That whole abstinent piece, because
are we gonna talk about the abstinence thing?
I don't know. We're not.
Are we gonna talk about men?
Oh, we talk about men as being disrespectful.
Well, why? Well, let's ask this question. We'll save the abstinence talk for another time.
We'll say that.
But why do you think it happens? It happens. We know what happens. It doesn't change the fact that it's gonna happen.
Right. Why do I think it happens?
Because the looks that we get when we're out, where men do look at me, I'm okay with that because it's just them looking.
Right.
Plus, just a side note real quick, they're only looking because Elle likes to put me in the front. Elle likes to put me in the front and have me walk in front of her while she watches me walk.
So I can make sure she's safe. Don't be doing it like that.
And watches, that's a small part.
So safety is a small part?
Safety's a big part for her.
Oh my God.
Safety's a big part for her. I give you that. I give you that. But then you like to watch other people watch me.
I do.
And she puts me out there. So just so y'all know that little tidbit.
I do.
But it's not, when guys look then at those points, it's really not disrespectful. They just look.
Just to see how I'm doing things. So, number one, in my perception is that men perceive that I carry myself as a man, right? I carry myself as me. I'm very respectful with my wife. I'm very courteous to my wife. I cater to my wife. So if you want to attribute those things to me acting like a man, then feel free. And then on top of that, I'm a pretty good dresser. So I get a lot of attention from men based off how I look because they trying to figure out why in the hell I look better than they look in that moment. So I clean up well, and it's also perceived that, oh, she just like a man, she want to be like a man. I'm a whole woman. Twice on Friday. Bleed once a month. Ready to go. So it's not that I want to be a man, but I think it's an intimidation factor when it comes to men. If I'm in an environment with my wife, or even in previous environments, and I'm looking good, I'm opening her door to a restaurant, I'm opening her car door.
Always.
I'm
always opens my doors. Every time.
If I'm just showing chivalry, I'm being paid attention to. We're being paid attention to.
Yeah.
But that's just because I respect who I'm with. I cherish who I'm with, and that's important for me. So I think it can be an intimidation factor. Like, what's she doing with her? Why she with her? You know, and
she can't give her what I can.
Yeah, she can't give her what I give. I go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
She could go hard with that strap,
right,
too.
Right.
So you not doing nothing just because you got a penis attached to you. I'm more concerned about who you are at the core. I don't care what your body parts look like. Right. I don't care what they do, because I can find somebody to do it 10 times better than you. I need a solid foundation in a relationship, and I have that.
Right.
It's nothing to do with sex.
I think sometimes it's intimidation. I think it's sometimes you never know what men go through. You know, you never know what they go through. They probably don't have women in their lives who don't left them for women.
We done had a couple stories of those.
Right, too. Right. So you just never know. But I've received more negative from men than positive. And the positive that I have received are from the men that I surround myself with, the men that respect me. The men that respect my relationship, the men that respect me as a person. Usually it's some disgruntled guys out there. It's not all guys.
It's not.
It's some guys. And unfortunately, it's mainly African-American men. And I can't put my finger on why. Probably because from what I've seen on social media, when I was on social media, they do a lot of gay bashing. Or dykes and straps, and I hate that word, dyke, carpet muncher. You know, it's just craziness like that.
I'm laughing because I say it to make her feel some type of way sometimes.
Yeah, when I first met Baby, she said that, I was like,
I said bull dyke.
No, ma'am, we do not use those terms.
It was just to mess with her, though. Yeah. I like to push her little buttons.
She does.
But yeah, other buttons.
It's just. But you better cut it out. She about to go to the airport soon, too. We're going to get it in before she leaves. She don't even know. But you made me forget, babe. Stop.
Sorry. Pushing buttons. Bull dykes.
But yeah, just, at the end of the day, stay in your lane, mind your business. You are not in our relationship, It's unfortunate that you feel that way. It's unfortunate that they have negative thoughts. It's unfortunate they think lesbian sex is just giving each other head. It's unfortunate they think lesbian sex is just using strap. I hadn't strapped up on my wife.
It's just unfortunate they think lesbian relationships are sexual driven in the first place. And I just think it's just because of how it's perceived and how it's put out there that they have this idea that it's this way, especially because with gay lesbian community, there is a big negative connotation that it's all sex driven.
Right.
That these relationships are based on sex. And I think that that's where that mindset comes from. So maybe changing the mindset and changing how same-sex relationships are perceived to be or how they look may change how people value it and respect it. Mm-hmm. But I think it goes so much deeper than just that. It also goes back into building those traditional values within each other to have the respect for relationships. Yeah. And people this day and age just really don't value relationships the way that they should be valued. Mm-hmm. And what relationships should be centered around, and people just don't value monogamy the way that they should. And I think that it's all of kind of those underlying factors that drive people to not respect other relationships because they can't even respect their own.
Right. Yeah, you better speak. I'm speaking on this young Sunday. What else you got?
That's pretty
That was
much
a whole earful, but that was like some real stuff, though.
But that's what I think. And those are just my thoughts. But it all starts with us and our values. And that was one thing I was so grateful for. As Elle said before, she is a whole traditional lesbian, okay?
Traditional.
As traditional lesbians can be. And we both shared those very traditional values when it comes to relationships and building relationships and building a very solid foundation, wanting to have God as our foundation and building upon that and just respect and love of each other, understanding how much of a commitment marriage is and what that really means to marry someone. It's more than just a name on paper. It's more than just a ring on your finger. It's more than just a title saying, oh, I'm married. This is my wife.
Right.
Like, there's so much more to it. So silly. There's so much more to it than just that.
This my wife.
So and to find that in another person and to find that in another Black individual. We both come from very broken homes. Very broken homes. And we are not just about saying, oh, we really want a life that's different than what we grew up in. You know, we don't want to put ourselves through what we saw our moms go through. And we really, really mean that. Right. We truly do not want to repeat a cycle. We want a great foundation. We want to have that long-lasting marriage of ups and downs, but we know how to work through them.
Right.
And just building with each other the right way. And we're both so determined and we're dedicated to that.
Yep.
And it was just amazing to find that in another Black woman, Black person in general. Because in my past relationships, I have literally only found that when I've dated outside of my race. I have never found that when I've dated someone within my race, and that's very unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
I think I am off topic.
Hey, we've been off topic all day, but we're gonna call this pillow talk. But you make a extremely valid point. That's something that we agreed on. We have a lot of similarities in this relationship. This is the first relationship that I can honestly say that I've been in with someone that adds value to my life. Previous relationships have not added value to my life. It was more of me motivating the person I was with to better themselves, not vice versa. But I finally found someone to add value to my life. Someone that's on the same level as me with a multitude of things. So, mad grateful for that.
And what was interesting, and it's just a little side note about, something else about Elle. She'll be mad. She'll be like, well, you always got to be out there like I'm the one. That's how she really be sounding, too.
No, I don't.
So, when we first met, we'll talk one day about our past experiences with the relationships. We both have had cheating happen to us in the past, very similar ways. And hers was with a woman, mine was with a man. And they're similar. But after what happened with her previous relationship, she was like, no more bisexuals. That's it. She's going straight lesbian. Mm-hmm. And we had this long conversation about character flaws and what cheating really means. And it has nothing to do with lesbians, gays, bisexuals. It has to do with the person. Right. But it was so funny to me when she found out I was not lesbian. And she looked at me, and I'm pretty sure she knew I wasn't a lesbian, because she knew. No, I didn't. Okay, so most people think I'm straight. You look at me, you think I'm straight, but I don't think sexuality defines you. I don't think any of that kind of stuff defines a person. So no one really knows who I date. That I date literally any and everybody. It does not matter. I've even dated transgender before. I don't think any of that defines a person. So I'm not out here like, go such and such and such and such. And I'm not out here with rainbow headbands and all kind of stuff, because that's not me. What defines me is me and who I am as a person. And so it just depends on who I'm dating at the time. It doesn't really matter when I'm dating. And so because my last relationship was with a man, people just assumed that I was straight, but I wasn't. It's just they hadn't seen me before when I was dating women. But for her, she was so disappointed in the fact that I wasn't a lesbian because of her previous experiences. And what I love most about Elle is that even though she had made a decision that swearing off non-lesbians, I'll just put non-lesbian women, was maybe a fix to things that had happened to her in her past, she decided to stick it out with me.
Took a chance on love.
She gave me a chance.
I did.
Because your girl was over here spitting that game.
She was definitely not spitting no game. But she was genuine, and I wanted to see where it would go, and I didn't want to block a blessing. So I could have walked away.
Yes.
And I could have blocked the blessing.
That is one thing I would definitely end this podcast with, is when God sends someone to you, it's going to be someone that you never thought it was that you needed.
Right.
And they're going to come wrapped in a way that you thought you didn't want.
Mm.
And they end up being the best thing for you. I think people's happiness walks by them every day, but because we're so blind and so closed off to what we think we want,
right,
we don't see that it's right in front of us. And he done sent someone perfect for us multiple times.
Mm.
But we just don't want to open our eyes to see it. So I always challenge people that when you're going to date, try dating someone you would never date.
Right.
And open your heart up to receiving that person and allowing things to flow. And you may find that you find your perfectly imperfect match in someone that you least expected. Don't close yourself off to love based on what you think you want.
Yeah.
Open yourself up to love based on what God would have for you.
Mm.
And it's probably going to come in a way in which you don't expect. It's not going to be what you want, but at the end of the day, it'll be everything you need.
Big facts. Least expected. Take a chance on love. Take a chance on love. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up.
Any last thoughts on men who disrespect relationships and basically everything we've talked about?
Right.
Because we were all over the place.
We were. So, in reference to men disrespecting relationships, stay in your lane. Like, you know.
Yes, please.
Stay in your lane. If it's not yours, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything with the couple that you see, and don't be disrespectful, because if you wouldn't want someone to disrespect you and your significant other, don't disrespect them and theirs. I just think that's inappropriate. Unfortunately, it happens, but I think it's very inappropriate. And embrace love. Embrace it. When you see it, embrace it. Respect it. We are out here. I am out here. I have to speak for self. I'm just me. I'm not trying to be a guy. I'm a traditional lesbian. That's it. Big facts. So, respect. That's it. Hashtag respect. That's all I got, babe.
Well, if you guys like this podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Mm-hmm. We upload new episodes every Saturday.
Leave comments.
Yes. And if you have anything you would like to share with us, please contact at our email address at ellenbaypodcast@gmail.com. We hope everyone has a blessed week. Please, 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 please be safe out there.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, and the things that are happening in America are very disheartening, and it makes it very scary to go out and just live life and enjoy the things that we want in life. But just take every day as it comes, live every day as if it's your last, and just please be vigilant and pay attention to what's happening around you.
Right.
And always stay prayed up.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.